Justin Trudeau resigns. Does this mean that cozy haircut globalism is finally over? Hello there, you awakening wonders. Thanks for joining us. Justin Trudeau, perhaps more than any other politician, represented care and concern as the lubricant for global totalitarianism. And perhaps his departure as he disappears off into whatever hairspray-scented realm he emerged from might mean the end of that era. Before we get too morose about Justin Trudeau's departure and his resignation speech, let's remember some of the moments of gentle fascism he augured. Calling truckers Nazis, freezing bank accounts, the blackface stuff. Justin saluting an actual Nazi in Canadian Parliament. How did I forget that one? Justin Trudeau's ascent was a symbol of a particular type of politics. I suppose that perhaps to a degree began with Bill Clinton and Tony Blair, the politician as performer, that has reached its beautiful inversion and apotheosis in Trump. With Trudeau departing, particularly in such a fractured and fissured, hazy and fluxy time, this could, perhaps as much as the second election of Trump, augur the end of the totalitarian, globalist, citizen management, let's help you from this crisis era. Let's have a look at his departure. Let's remind ourselves of some of Trudeau's greatest hits. And let's, of course, pay a moment's attention to some of Trump's jibes as Trudeau makes his way out the door.
Justin Trudeau's 9 years as Canadian Prime Minister is coming to an end.
That's too long, isn't it, for someone that's relatively mediocre, whose biggest claim to fame is that they have an eerie resemblance to Fidel Castro and pretty nice natural root lift. You can't do 9 years on that basis, can you? Well, if you make yourself dictator for life, yes, you can. Oh, well, it worked in Cuba.
Today, he announced he will step down as the leader of the governing Liberal Party.
And the fact is, despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history.
People are super grandiose, aren't they, about their own political significance and import. Generally speaking, a lot of Canadians, I feel, regard Trudeau and his era of governance with some derision and some doubt. It's with a heavy heart that I announce we've tried our best. All it really is his own party have finally gotten as sick of him as the Canadian people have been for some time. Justin Trudeau is a person that I basically would never have heard of or cared about other than his overt totalitarian and authoritative stance during the pandemic. His willingness to condemn, judge and slam ordinary Canadian citizens for standing up for their rights. The way that he used wokeism as a kind of means to assert social control. The kind of clappy, happy, I could have been a musical star veneer of jocundity as he stands at the side of a piano, sort of beaming his way forward. I bet surely, Lord, on some interpersonal level, he's probably an okay person. But as an emblem of a particular type of politics, the type of politics that tells you that it's here to help you, all the while dipping its hand in your pocket and making sure your phone is tracking you, Justin Trudeau is, I would say, the WEF's best-in-class, globalist, hairsprayed, lacquered boy band politician we could ever hope to have. And, you know, in a way, it's a pretty nice Christmas gift to be saying goodbye to him.
This country deserves a real choice in the next election.
And that's actually what politics and democracy is supposed to be about. Real choice and the will of the people. And the fact that Justin Trudeau has to explicitly state that shows you how far we've drifted into the kind of homogeneity into contemporary neo-democracies. And that's why we're seeing the rise of what many people would regard as the right and nationalism and certainly populism, as people reject the kind of globalism that Trudeau represents more clearly even than a politician like Kamala Harris or Bill Clinton or Barack Obama or Keir Starmer. I would say he's the epicenter of it, the bullseye, what David Lynch would call the duck's eye. He epitomizes it so clearly, perhaps in particular because Canada used to be regarded as a somewhat anodyne, neutral country. I don't mean that with any disrespect, Canadians, but you didn't like look at Canada and think, what are they going to do now, those Canadians? What have they invented? Who have they invaded? What are they going to do? You just think, oh, Canada is like America, less guns, they're pretty chilled. You didn't think like Canada, you know, they're going to do some crazy shit.
And it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be
Do you mean internal battles within yourself? I don't like to think of Justin Trudeau's intestines and bowels engaged in a tussle.
The best option in that election.
But I'm pretty sad about it all. Let's see how Donald Trump, of course, used this as an opportunity to invite Canada once more to become the 51st state and to ridicule dear old Justin Trudeau.
Donald Trump wasting no time, Joy, in weighing in on Justin Trudeau's resignation. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's a lengthy statement on Truth Social. He says many people in Canada love being the 51st state. They can no longer suffer the massive trade deficit and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat. Justin Trudeau knew this and resigned. Well, we know that not to be true. Canadians do not relish being the 51st state, I think.
Pretty funny, isn't it? What I like about most Trump text posts is what he chooses to capitalize. And how I generally feel like, yeah, that is a good place for emphasis. Love! Totally secure!
A poll I saw said maybe 13% in Alberta might want to do that. Elon Musk also weighing in.
I think he should have capitalized constantly surrounding for the Chinese and Russian ships. If I was working at the Trump White House, those are the kind of insights I could offer.
Vashi mocking Trudeau, saying, well, 2025 is shaping up to be a good year. Trump won and Trudeau resigned. I've been speaking to some people, Chris Sands with the Woodrow Wilson Center, who watches American-Canada relations. And he says the big question for Americans right now is who is in charge? It's going to take many months for a leadership convention for the Liberals. Who deals with tariffs? Who's
it going to be? Chrystia Friedland or one of those other people whose names sound like a Lord of the Rings princess but actually govern like Nazis and have grandparents that are Nazis and salute actual Nazis in Parliament? Or will it be Jordan Peterson rising at last to the forefront of Canadian politics? Grand Canyon University, a private Christian university in Phoenix, believe that we are endowed by our Creator to life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness from the Constitution. A Christian university, eh? GCU believe in equal opportunities and equip everyone to serve others in ways that promote human flourishing, creating, as they believe, a ripple effect of transformation. Whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, a master's or a doctoral degree, GCU's online and on-campus learning environments are designed to help you achieve your unique goals. Why don't you learn a bit more? With over 340 academic programs as of March 2024, GCU provide you with a path to fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Let it flourish. Wow, it's a very profound goal, isn't it? Because everything we do is about self, and this is about service. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable education. Visit gcu.edu/Russell. That's visit gcu.edu/Russell. 2 S's, 2 L's. Give it a try. Thanks.
deals with the renegotiation of the Free Trade Pact. A lot of questions out there. Chris Sands said that, Donald Trump, take him seriously when he says he's going to slap tariffs on countries, including Canada, on all goods and services, 25%. He means it. Whether it's a negotiating tactic or not, it's going to happen. And Americans are saying, well, wait a second, who's in charge? Now, there are many committees, Vashi, out there that are now looking at this. But I got to be honest with you, right now in Washington, it's all about January 6th. 4 years ago, the Capitol was attacked. A lot of...
Yeah, no, we all remember that. It was a terrible, terrible time. Here are some of Justin Trudeau's greatest moments. Justin, we hardly knew you. You emerged from the belly of Klaus Schwab and you governed Canada, emulating China, imprisoning your own population, either in their own homes or in actual prisons, depending on what they were deemed to have done. Maybe they coughed. Maybe they wanted to go from A to B without taking injections that hadn't been clinically trialled. But in any event, Justin, you found a way to govern beautifully. Justin, we will miss that face, whether it's the white or black version of it. Justin, we hardly knew you. Let's have a look at some of his best moments.
I cannot be the one to carry the Liberal standard into the next election.
Of course you can't. Why would you think that that's what people want you to do?
Justin Trudeau used to be Canada's golden boy, but he quickly became associated with scandal. As he resigns from the top job, here's a look back on Trudeau's biggest controversies. First, the groping incident. In 2018, a woman claimed Trudeau had inappropriately touched her at an event back in 2000. His public response raised questions about his feminist image.
They don't actually even believe in the stuff they claim to believe in. That's part of the problem of many of these kind of political figures. They're forever advocating for sets of ideas that they don't actually care about or believe in at all. They're always clenching their fists and wringing their hands and plucking their chins and telling us how we've got to be better. Then first opportunity they get to go to a party, on with the blackface, out with the groping.
I do not feel that I acted inappropriately in any way, but I respect the fact that someone else might have experienced that differently. And this is part of the reflections that we have to go through.
Got to go through some reflections. Let's black the old face up.
Second, the elbowing incident. In one of his most dramatic moments, Trudeau was caught on camera elbowing a female MP in the House of Commons. He was quick to apologise, but the backlash went global. Then there was COVID.
Yeah, I mean, like the elbowing, the groping, the blackface. COVID's when it really started to get into its stride, when people start to pay attention to Trudeau. Like, you know, like when you're into a band before other people are into him. I've liked that band for ages. Hey, I hated Trudeau when he was just doing blackface and elbowing people. Yeah, no, I didn't really tune in until he started putting his entire country into lockdown, demanding people take medications that hadn't been correctly clinically trialled and calling ordinary Canadians Nazis while saluting actual Nazis in Canadian Parliament. I was pretty late to the party. The Nazi Party.
Then there was COVID. Trudeau faced intense criticism over his strict lockdown measures and the economic hit that followed. That led to this moment, when a convoy of truckers protested outside Parliament in 2022. Trudeau dismissed them as a small fringe minority, but the protests had wide support. And let's not forget the famous India trip. In 2018, Trudeau's family visited India, dressed in traditional Indian clothing throughout the trip. While they received a warm welcome there, some critics accused them of overdoing it and turning India's culture into a spectacle.
One Indian headline said that Trudeau was dressed too Indian even for an Indian. And it'd be like if Prime Minister Modi came to Canada dressed like this.
But the biggest scandal of all came in 2019, when these photos surfaced of Trudeau in blackface at a 2001 party dressed as an Arabian Nights character. Trudeau admitted his costume was racist, but the damage was done.
I recognize that it is something absolutely unacceptable to do. And yeah, I appreciate calling it makeup, but it was blackface. And that is just not right.
Now, Trudeau's time as PM wasn't all scandal. His supporters will remember him for championing diversity, implementing climate policies, and achieving gender equality in Parliament. But his controversies will ensure he's remembered as one of Canada's most divisive leaders.
Yeah, because a lot of the things he achieved were sort of made-up categories that were invented simply to appease people, whereas his actual system of government and real legacy includes and perhaps is defined by the pretense that government is there to help you while just enormously taxing and controlling you, laying claim to spiritual powers that do not belong in the domain of man, particularly if we're not willing to live in accordance with the ethics and principles that they explicitly lay out for us. Kindness, humility, duty, self-sacrifice, willingness to serve others. What I suppose Justin Trudeau represents is individualism and superficiality. The idea that a good-looking and somewhat charming leader can represent a set of values that are superficially attractive but seldom actually practiced, and that imposed care is anything other than a form of totalitarianism. The end of Justin Trudeau might be the end of that type of politician. I think it'll be a long while before we see someone brought to the forefront who just sort of smiles and grins, but actually when you look past their initial PR package as a sort of a black-faced gropey past and governs in accordance with globalist totalitarian edicts. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Remember to subscribe to this wherever you're watching it, particularly if you're watching it on our home in Rumble. And if you're watching this on YouTube, get on over to Rumble, where we stream 4 days a week with loads of fantastic new content and insights, wonderful new guests, and join Rumble Premium too. More important than any of that, if you can, please stay free. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.